If you are over the age of 60, chances are you have spent decades working hard, raising a family, and taking care of responsibilities. Now, as you step into this new chapter of life, things begin to shift. Life is no longer about chasing more, it is about choosing better. And sometimes living better means letting go. One of the first things to release is the habit of saving out of fear. Saving money has been a wise and necessary practice for much of your life. You were taught to prepare for emergencies, for retirement, for the unknown. But what happens when you've already prepared well? When your home is paid off, your retirement accounts are strong, and your basic needs are covered, yet you still feel afraid to spend a dime. True saving is about caring for your future self. But when the future has already arrived, holding on to fear only limits your joy. Your money is not just for security, it is also for living, creating memories, enjoying travel, sharing moments with loved ones. If you've planned wisely, you've earned the right to enjoy it. Ask not, what if I run out, but instead, what is worth spending on while I still can? After the age of 60, one of the most powerful shifts you can make is learning how to spend with intention. For much of our lives, we often purchase things out of habit, guilt, or the pressure to keep up with others. We buy clothes that remain unworn, gadgets we never truly need, or gifts that carry more obligation than joy. Yet when you pause and reflect, very little of this spending actually adds happiness or meaning to your life. Real value comes from aligning your money with the experiences and people that matter most. I once spoke with a woman in her 70s who spent thousands each year on things she quickly forgot, but the memory she cherished most was a single flight she purchased to surprise her sister on her birthday. That weekend of laughter and connection brought her more joy than years of shopping ever did. After 60, it is no longer about accumulating more. It is about choosing better. That might mean investing in travel, supporting your grandchildren's education, enjoying dinners with friends, or simply buying something that makes daily life easier and more comfortable. The key is to release spending driven by guilt, fear, or appearances, and instead focus on what genuinely enriches your life. And remember, not every meaningful moment comes with a price tag. Sometimes the richest experiences are the simplest ones: sharing coffee on the porch, writing a letter, or walking in nature. Spend with heart, not habit, and let your money reflect the life you truly want to live. One of the most important lessons to embrace after the age of 60 is this: stop trading your time for money, unless it still gives you joy and meaning. For most of your life, time and money were closely linked. You showed up to work, put in the hours, and earned your living, even when the job was stressful or thankless. That was necessary then. It helped you build your life. But now you are in a different chapter, one where time is your most valuable currency. Ask yourself, are you still working because it fulfills you, or simply because you are afraid to stop? Does your work give you energy and purpose, or is it just keeping you busy? Retirement is not about reaching a certain age, it's about reaching a certain mindset. If your work still excites you, keep going, but do it by choice, not out of habit or fear. I once knew a teacher who loved his job so much that he kept teaching until 67. He finally retired when his heart told him it was time, and he left with peace. On the other hand, I've seen people remain in roles they disliked simply because they couldn't imagine life without a title or a paycheck. The truth is, you can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. Once a day passes, it is gone forever. So now is the moment to shift your perspective. If your work brings you meaning, embrace it wholeheartedly. But if it drains you, let it go and start trading your time for what truly matters: experiences, relationships, joy, and peace. At this stage of life, your greatest wealth is not money in the bank, but the freedom to live each day with purpose. Another powerful shift after the age of 60 is learning to stop putting off the experiences you've always dreamed about. Too often we say, I'll take that trip someday. I'll learn that skill next year. I'll visit that friend when things settle down. But the truth is, someday is not a real day on the calendar. And for many people, someday never comes. I once spoke with a couple who had dreamed for years of driving across the country in a vintage trailer. They had the money, they had the time, but every year they said, maybe next summer. Then one winter, the husband had a health scare. Not life-threatening, but enough to shake them. That was the wake-up call. They realized they had been waiting for permission that would never come. So they packed their bags, hit the road, and 6 months later told me it was the best decision they had ever made. Not because every day was perfect, but because they finally chose to live their dream instead of postponing it. Behind every delay is often fear. Fear of change, fear of doing something new, or even fear of finally prioritizing yourself. But here's the truth. You are not too old, and it is not too late. The world is still full of wonder, and you are allowed to make memories that feel magical at any age. So what have you been putting off? A letter you want to write? A hobby you've wanted to try? A place you've longed to visit? Don't wait for the right time. Give yourself permission to start now, because the most precious gift you have is today, and it's waiting for you to say yes. After 60, one of the most important things to let go of is neglecting your health. For many people, retirement is measured in years, 15, 20, maybe more. But the real question is, how many healthy years do you have left? Because without health, no amount of money, travel, or plans will bring true joy. Think about it. Would you rather have $20 million but wake up tired, in pain, and unable to enjoy life? Or would you rather have far less money but feel strong, vibrant, and full of energy? Almost everyone chooses the second option when asked, yet many still live as if money is more valuable than health. The good news is that improving your health doesn't require extreme changes. You don't need to run marathons or follow a strict diet overnight. Small, consistent steps can make a powerful difference. Walk a little more each day. Choose water instead of soda. Stretch in the morning. Try a fitness class designed for your age group. Even light strength training can greatly improve balance, energy, and independence. This is not about chasing youth or fitting into old expectations. It's about protecting your freedom, the ability to travel without pain, to play with your grandchildren, to wake up with energy instead of fatigue. Your body is the vehicle for the life you want, and it deserves care, attention, and love. So book that doctor's appointment you've been avoiding. Prepare one healthy meal this week. Take a short walk around your neighborhood. Start small, but start now. Because every step you take toward your health is a step toward a longer, freer, and more joyful life. After 60, one of the greatest freedoms you can give yourself is to stop worrying about what others think. For most of your life, you've probably carried the weight of expectations, being the dependable parent, the hardworking employee, the loyal friend. You've played by the rules, kept up appearances, and done what was expected. But now it's time to ask, who am I living for? I once worked with a woman in her mid-60s who had always loved art. She dreamed of taking a painting class, but hesitated. What if I'm not good? What if people think it's silly at my age? She asked. My response was simple. So what if they do? She finally joined the class, and it changed everything. Not because she became famous, but because she finally gave herself permission to create, just for her own joy. The older you get, the more you earn the right to stop apologizing for who you are. You want to wear bold colors? Do it. You want to travel alone? Go for it. You want to say no to events that drain your energy? That's your choice. Living authentically isn't selfish, it's necessary. A hospice nurse once recorded the top regrets of people at the end of their lives. The number one regret was this: I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Let that sink in. So today, release the pressure to impress. Speak your truth. Follow your passions. Show up as the fullest version of yourself, because there is only one you, and it's never too late to live life your way. After 60, one of the most valuable choices you can make for your peace of mind is to stop consuming constant negativity, the endless doom and gloom. Staying informed is important, yes, but there's a difference between being aware and being overwhelmed. You spend hours every day watching the news, scrolling headlines, or listening to arguments on TV, you may start to feel like the whole world is falling apart. That stress builds up. It clouds your mind, steals your energy, and even affects your health. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who said, after watching 3 hours of news every night, I feel so much happier? Neither have I. But I've met many people who told me that once they stepped back, their mood lifted, their outlook improved, and they felt lighter. That's because much of the news isn't designed to inform, it's designed to grab your attention. And fear is a powerful hook. But ask yourself, is this how you want to spend your attention? At this stage of life, your attention is one of your most valuable resources. You can use it to focus on what's broken or on what's still beautiful. There is still kindness in the world. There are still people doing good, music to enjoy, laughter to share, and love to give. Choose to notice that too. Limit your news intake. Read uplifting stories. Turn off the TV when you've had enough. After all, you've earned the right to spend your energy on things that bring peace, joy, and hope, not fear. Protect your heart, protect your mind, and let your attention feed the life you want to live. After 60, one of the most important things to balance is your relationship with money. Too many people fall into one of two traps. They either avoid their finances completely or they obsess over them endlessly. Both extremes steal peace of mind. On one side, some people say, "It's too overwhelming, I'll deal with it later." They avoid looking at their accounts, ignore their expenses, and hope things will somehow work out. But the truth is, avoiding your financial plan doesn't make problems disappear. It only makes them grow in the dark. At this stage of life, you need clarity. How much income do you really need each month? What would happen if your health changed? Do you have protection for the unexpected? You don't need to be a financial expert, but you do need a plan. A simple, clear plan gives you confidence and security. On the other side, some people can't stop thinking about money. They analyze every dollar, worry about every decision, and delay joy because of fear. They ask questions like, if I take a vacation, will this ruin my budget? If I buy this gift, will it affect my taxes? But remember, you didn't save and invest just to stare at numbers on a screen. You did it to live. The best financial plan isn't about the highest balance. It's about giving you freedom. Freedom to travel, to give, to enjoy, and to say yes to experiences that matter. So stop avoiding, stop obsessing, and start using money as the tool it was meant to be. At this stage of life, your finances should support the life you want, not control it. After 60, one of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop living as if you have forever. This isn't meant to scare you. It's an invitation to live more fully. By this stage of life, most of us have already been touched by loss. A parent, a sibling, a friend, or someone we love deeply is no longer here. And in those quiet moments of grief, we're reminded of a truth we often push aside. Life is not unlimited. We all know this in theory, yet so many of us continue to wait. We wait for the right time, for everything to settle down, for some perfect moment that never arrives. But the truth is, you never really know how much time you have left. That makes today incredibly precious. I often ask people a simple question. If this were your last year, what would you do differently? Almost everyone has an answer right away. Call someone they love, write that book, take that trip, mend a broken relationship. Yet after answering, many go back to living the same way. You don't need a diagnosis or a crisis to wake up. You can choose to wake up today with gratitude, with awareness, and with urgency to live. You can forgive. You can start the project. You can plant the garden. You can say, I love you before the moment slips away. The point is not to live in fear of death, but to live in respect for life. Your life. This one, irreplaceable, beautiful life you still have. You are here. You are breathing. You have today. And that alone is enough reason to start living as if it truly matters, because it does.